Trudy sitting in for Elias, taking a look now at the upcoming Montreal election campaign. Now, we've been hearing a lot from Luc Rabouin, who is the replacement for Valérie Plante. We have also heard from Soraya Martinez about what her party will be shaping up to do. It's not just going to be a two-person race or a two-party race, though. There are some fledgling parties that are hoping to gain traction as voters decide who they will be casting ballots for this fall. And they have been excluded from the first debate being organized as this election campaign starts to ramp up. The Montreal Council on Foreign Relations is holding a debate on September 18th. And Transition Montréal, Futur Montréal, and Action Montréal have not been invited. Why? Because they fall outside of the minimum threshold that the organizers set for a demonstration of support. The leader of Transition Montréal, Craig Sauvé, the independent city councillor, is upset about being excluded, and he joins us now. Craig, welcome to CJAD.
Hi, Trudy. Thanks for having me on today.
Hello. Why do you disagree with the threshold that the Montreal Council on Foreign Relations has set for participation in its debate?
Well, I think it's so important that we have a debate where many ideas can get out there. I think we see in the United States, with a two-party system, how sterile and oppositional and how polarizing that debate can be. And in Montreal, we actually have parties that are organizing in the boroughs. Our party, Transition Montreal, has 50 candidates already in 18 out of 19 boroughs. So we're organized. We're already doing door-to-door. We're going to win seats, but we want our voice to be at the table too. So Corium it's a private think tank on foreign relations. We have things to say about that as well. So their actual criteria are very severe. Their criteria are you have to have 15% of existing seats or 15% in the polls. Now, first of all, there hasn't been a poll, so we can't even conform to that because there hasn't been a poll. And then the second piece is, well, if it's only parties that have 15% of seats, well, that's extremely exclusionary. These type of criteria, if we applied them, let's say, to the federal level, would exclude systematically the NDP, the Bloc, and the Greens. And if we applied it to the provincial level, for example, in the last election, it would exclude the PQ, Quebec Solidaire, it would exclude the Conservative Party of Quebec. So, I mean, in having rich debates during elections, that's one of the best moments where we can exchange ideas and the population can hear about new ideas. So we want to be involved. We want to be in the debates. We're organized, so we're fighting our way to try to make all the debates possible.
Given that this is a private think tank, and you're arguing on kind of ideological grounds that their rules are too strict, but it's a private operation. Do you hold out any hope that you're going to be able to change that particular organization's mind?
Well, now our activists and our members are writing the Corium to say that this is not a fair criteria. Tula Dramonis, who is a well-known journalist and columnist in Montreal for the Gazette and Cult Montreal, called for my inclusion and the inclusion of the two other parties, by the way, in this debate. So the pressure is on. And I think Montrealers don't want to just see a polarizing oppositional debate. One of the reasons that Transition Montreal, our party, exists is because we want to break up this polarizing attitude that's going on at City Hall. It's a lot of quarreling. It's a lot of partisanery. Sometimes I feel like there's a systemic opposition from the opposition party, and then the administration party is just throwing mud, and it's not valuable for Montrealers. So let's talk about ideas. Having a campaign is a golden opportunity to exchange ideas, and I think everybody wins when more ideas are on the table. So that's why we're applying pressure. There will be another debate coming up very soon too, and that's the Institut Nouveau Monde. And in this debate, their criteria are different, and the criteria is having 52 candidates or a 10% in the polls. Again, there hasn't been a poll. But 52% of candidates, 52 candidates, we will have 52 candidates by the time that debate comes along. So we'll be in that debate, that's for sure. But again, they will probably exclude the two other parties And I'm not in favor of excluding the other parties either. I want their voices in there so we can have really mixed debates and allow Montrealers to have a clear decision on where they want to go.
Having that's another private organization organizing that second one. Mm-hmm. Broadcasters get together to do federal and provincial debates. If you had one of those that was, I don't want to say less private because that's not the right definition, but if one of those were on the horizon, it seems to me it might be easier to make the argument that all three of those parties deserve to be on the stage. Is that just my perception, or would you hope for an event like that?
I think you're absolutely correct. I know that the English media usually do hold a debate. I know the French media usually hold a debate too. And, sometimes the parties have a place in the negotiations about what the criteria are. My impression so far is that the two parties are already in those negotiations, and we're not. We're not invited into those negotiations. So I think transparency in democracy is really important too. And I think we should really have a standard of rules that's more open-minded, that allows for more parties, and that standard be transparent and everywhere, countervailing all over the debates in Montreal, because that way everybody will know what they're getting into if they're forwarding a new party, a new movement, and it will be fair, and Montrealers will understand why or why not some parties are included. So I agree with you 100%. There ought to be some form of regulation or fairness in terms of transparency and an actual rule book about how that should happen. And I know at least with the media, they're a little bit more transparent. With private think tanks, I found out about the debate after I'd already been excluded. You see? So that was problematic. And then I called them and I tried to get the criteria. So you see, I don't think that's a good modus operandi for promoting democracy in our city.
We've been speaking with Craig Sauvé, leader of Transition Montréal. Thank you for the interview.
Thank you so much for your time.